Welcome to Washington East to West Sports. This is episode 28. I am Matt Beatty, joined alongside as usual by Sean Beatty and Kevin Ardall. When we have our first guest of our show, it is Justin Meineke, aka JT the Ginger on Twitter. Welcome to the show, Justin. Let's talk about Mariners. But first, we got to touch on some other news topics. So I just want to mention hometown Freddie Montero is coming back to the Sounders. One of the original members when they joined the MLS. He's coming back on a one-year deal. Just wanted to mention that. We're not going to talk about that. I just wanted to bring that up before we start. But let's get into a brief little bit of Seahawks news before we do our big Mariners preview. So, gentlemen, it was tweeted out by Adam Schefter today. I'm sure it was tweeted out on multiple outlets. But I saw this from Adam Schefter that Carlos Dunlap is being released by the Seahawks today. I saw over the weekend there were reports that they were trying to extend him, back end it a little bit, make the cap hit later. But apparently it just didn't work out. So I'm just going to go around and we're going to get some reactions. So, Kevin, what did you think of this news when you heard it?
I was happy, to be honest, because I'm guessing they probably lowballed him on the money because they don't really have the money to give him what he needed. And he said no. And so, especially after what he did last season with his sack numbers, because everybody just kind of goes by sacks nowadays instead of other things. So that's free money up to hopefully go towards the offensive line, and let's let the young kids play.
Sean, what do you think?
Kind of same thing. It's hard to pass up freeing up $14 million, and cutting him frees up $14 million. And like Kevin said, I think they lowballed him, so let him walk. He always kind of wanted to test free agency anyways, so let him test free agency, and we save a bunch of money.
JT, any thoughts?
Same sentiment. Ultimately, I always like watching him play. Looks like a man amongst boys. He's just a huge dude, and ultimately, I understand the business side of things. But it'd be interesting if somehow they're able to restructure maybe a later date if he wants to come back on his own volition.
Yeah, good player while he was there for the brief amount of time, and I think this frees up some money to hopefully re-sign KJ. So that would be very nice to redirect that money to someone who has been with us for a while and has definitely earned that amount of money. So hopefully that money will be redirected to KJ or somewhere that we need it, like the offensive line. But gentlemen, let's jump into the big Mariners preview. So let's start off first. We've had about a week of spring training to go through. So I'm just going to run down the games recently since we've been on our show last. So they lost 6-1 to the Cleveland Indians right after we played. Oh, sorry, Cleveland baseball team. My bad. They tied the Chicago Cubs, the Rockies, the White Sox, and the A's all in a row. And then they lost to the LA Angels in 6-2 on Sunday before losing to Cleveland 10-0 today. So, Sean, I'm going to throw this to you first. Tell me kind of what you've seen and maybe what has kind of jumped out to you a little bit for the Mariners so far in spring training.
I think most of the starting pitchers that we think are going to be on this team have looked pretty good. They're working on some things. Most starting pitchers aren't trying to be tip-top shape in spring training so far, but I think what we've seen with velocity increases from a couple of guys, Gilbert, Kikuchi, people like that, I think it's been very nice. Hitting wise, less, but it's kind of what I expected. I expected the hitting to be a little bit behind because a lot of these guys, again, haven't really faced another team. Because, again, we're relying on a lot of young guys like Cal Raleigh, Julio Kelnick. A lot of these guys haven't faced another team for a long time, where I feel like pitching transitions easier to that versus hitting. So they're having a little bit of an adjustment period. But, again, they're young. I'm not worried about it. It's just that it's pretty much how I expected. Pitching to be better and hitting to be worse.
JT, what are your thoughts? What have you been seeing from the Mariners so far in spring training?
Ultimately, same sentiment regarding pitching. It was really fun to watch Logan Gilbert out there. I wrote down a note. My scouting report is he is basically Barry Pepper. And if you don't know Barry Pepper, he was he played Roger Maris in '61. He's also in Green Mile and Saving Private Ryan. But he's like Barry Pepper with long hair. And man, his stuff, it just exploded. And it was fun seeing strikeout Trout looking. He made Fletcher look so bad, and Fletcher's a good contact hitter for the Angels. He just whiffed at something way out front in the dirt. It was fun watching Logan Gilbert. Ty France has impressed me. I want to see him get as much playing time as possible. Trammell has impressed me. I'm thinking maybe he's going to have a real legitimate chance of that left field job. And Haniger, it's nice to see him healthy, and Seer consistent. Hasn't moved yet. Hopefully his house isn't for sale. And then
Marco's boring. Yeah.
Right. The 2 or 3 lefties that would come out of our bullpen, because the rest of them look like they'll be righties. I don't know about the name pronunciations, but Misowitz and Marjavicius, and then Elias. I'm thinking Elias has faced a lot of quality innings and or batters at least so far in spring training, and so I think they're really looking at him to see if he can really make that bullpen.
Kevin, what are your thoughts on what you've seen so far in this last week of Mariners games?
Some solid stuff. As we were talking about earlier, the ties have kind of been a little bit of a throw off, which is, it's going to happen. But kind of looking at the stats, because I printed out everybody, with the exception of the murder that happened today, of the 10-0 game. I have everybody's like spring training stats, and going over it and looking at it, there's 3 names that I circled. Ty France being one, as GT already mentioned. Just kind of going nutty, slugging of 1.182, like just being an all-out stud. They haven't listed as third, so I don't know.
He was a third first baseman with the Padres. He's probably going to be mostly DH, but yeah, he technically that's where he played. So,
and again, I also saw another person that had circled that also got a hit today. It's Kyle Seer. Kyle Seeger's been doing some good stuff. OBP of 600, slugging at 850. Like, I'll take it. I'll take that all day. And then, as JT already mentioned, Trammell, man, he also Trammell had another hit today too. Very impressive stuff so far by him. With a stolen base as well, like power and hitting and stealing. I'll take all of it. Then you got some like solid guys that have kind of like Marmoleos has been solid all around. He'd be a nice utility player because we've seen him play at different positions. So, and then Haniger is doing some solid stuff on the pitching side. I like what I saw from Logan Gilbert. He had very good control of his fastball in the outside corner when he was in those innings that he pitched in a small sample size. Always like seeing him strike out trout, as JT already mentioned. And based off the small sample size of other players that I've been watching, like Sheffield's having good outing. Probably the most impressive so far that I've seen from the stats, and especially adding on to it today, is Roenis Elias, man. Like, let me pull him up real quick. Roenis Elias has had, even though he's pitched only 3 innings, he has 6 Ks. He hasn't give up a run. No walks. Like, I'll take that all day as a solid vet in the bin. Like, so I like what I see so far. I mean, I'm not excited. It's still going to be the same thing. We're not doing anything this year, but it's just nice to see like the pieces kind of get their time. So it'll be exciting to see.
Well, let me ask you this.
I have a little story. I have a little story. It was about you, actually. So, Roenis Elias, I have an absolute man crush on him. I was helping you, Matthew, move into your house at Lake Chelan when you moved there, and I made us all stop moving you in. We had to go to the one bar there so I could watch his first ever start against Oakland. Do you remember that?
Okay. First of all, there's more than one bar in Chelan, so that's incorrect.
But I was the only one who cared because I wanted to see him pitch and I wanted to see his curveball, nothing else. And I was like, just throw the freaking curveball.
I think you probably went to the bar/restaurant on the corner. I think I do remember that, actually.
I made us stop moving you in so we can watch his first major league start. So I love that guy. Kevin's absolutely right. He's been a stud, and I love that guy.
All right, so let me ask you guys. You all mentioned the pitching so far. Would you say the pitching has been better than you expected them to be so far, or what they might be come regular season time? Have they been outperforming what your expectations were? I'm going to throw it to JT first.
Outperforming my expectations, I would say sure. meeting or slightly exceeding expectations. I wanted to really look at Chris Flexen. I'm going to call him nickname, deeming it right now, let it be known, the Triflexa.
Yes.
And there's an image of him when he finally learned how to lift weights, and he looks like the opposite of what you would want for a pitcher's ideal body. It looked like he was Gumby in the legs, but he was like toned in his upper body. But anyway, I really followed the KBO in 2020 and got really into it. And he was one of the names that really stood out on the Doosan Bears last year in 2020. Technically, if you just think of it as a calendar year, 2020, Chris Flexen had the most innings pitched. And he did so with 116 innings. And that's something to keep an eye on. I know his contract has some innings bonuses written in there. So it'll be interesting to see if they let him eat innings. Because last year he was pulled about every 5.5 innings on average. But he had some really great numbers. I don't know if I can dive into those real quick.
Yeah.
But last year, 116 innings pitched, 3.01 ERA, 1.09 WHIP. And he started 21 games, 12 quality starts in those. And ultimately with 132 strikeouts to 30 walks, which equates to 4.4 K to walk ratio. And I wanted to see him more in person. And he's got that really kind of over the top delivery. It comes from above him instead of more of a 3/4 motion. And he really uses that fastball curveball to probably try to tunnel. And I think just as if we're going with the 6-man rotation in Seattle, I thought he was a really savvy pickup this offseason.
Kevin, they exceeded your expectations, met them. What have you thought of the pitching so far in spring training?
Yeah, with the exception of a couple of guys, but that's just going to happen just because somebody's going to give up runs. But with a small sample size, because everybody really only has like 2-3 innings right now at this time, so it's kind of really hard to say whether expectations are met in my eyes. But yeah, so far I've liked what I've seen, especially out of the guys that we're looking forward to, like for the future, of like Sheffield and Gilbert and yeah, so pretty much good, but yeah, you can't really small sample size, so I'll leave it at that. So
Sean, what do you think?
I would say probably closer to JT. I think with a little bit less. I think they're doing pretty much what I thought they would do. I really like mine is probably Justin Dunn. I think he's more of a bullpen guy. I really like the other, like JT said with Flexen too. I really like the other 5. I think Sheffield was really underrated last year. It was really quite what he did. Kyle Lewis got a lot of the rookie hype. Kikuchi was super unlucky. We know what Paxton and Marco are. And so I think with them pitching as well as they have in spring with, again, like I said, established pitchers don't really work. Like, I'm not trying to get everybody out. They're trying to work on certain things. They've still looked very good. And then with Logan Gilbert just being an absolute beast. And I thought the bullpen would be rough, especially a couple of the pieces. It's been rough. The guys I like, Elias, yeah, that's nice to see. I would like to see Montero and Graveman be a little better. And I really like oh shoot, I just forgot the guy Kevin, who you said got blasted today, the relief pitcher.
Gerber?
Yeah.
Gerber?
I really like him, but he's having a rough spring. So he's the one that would surprise me. But I think the starters doing well and the relief being bad is pretty much what I expected. And I think that's what we should expect coming into the season.
Just a side note, Gerber before today actually had like really good stats.
Yeah.
Even though he only had like 2 innings pitched. But
like you said,
but yeah, today he just didn't have his stuff. So
yeah.
All right, well, let's talk a little bit about injuries. So we do unfortunately have to bring up Jared Kelnick's name here. So I'm trying to find exactly what the injury was. Did you guys happen to have that handy?
I think it's a grade 2 oblique is what I saw.
Okay, and I saw the timeline was like 2 to 6 weeks normally, but I saw from Ryan Divish on Twitter that he's trying to come back in a week. Seems like quite a lofty goal. Might not be the best idea, But the one game that the Mariners were on TV, Scott Cervais was being interviewed, and as he's being interviewed about, when guys are ready, Kelnick hits a home run in the background. So that was pretty nice. But what did you guys think when you heard the news, Sean? I know you died inside based on your Twitter. But what was your first reaction when you guys heard the news about Jared Kelnick, and like, what do you think this does to his like time being brought up? Does it put it right back on the schedule you thought he'd be? Like, did you think he had a shot of cracking this roster based on how he's played so far? Like, what do you think this does to Jared Kelnick's at least prospects going into this season? Sean, I'm gonna start with you.
I'll say this, it was a abductor muscle in his knee, so that's what it was. But I would say, as it was going right now, before he got hurt, he had the spot in left field. It was his. He was playing pretty well. I mean, again, it was like 3 games, but he was about the second best hitter behind Ty France on the team up until that point. So if that had continued, he could not be on the team. But I will say it's probably a blessing in disguise. I joked that I died inside. It was more of a kidding, because obviously this is not a serious thing. It will protect the Mariners from like keeping him down a little bit. They have a reason, they have an excuse. That's why I think Jared Kelnick's like, I'll come up and play in a week. He's kind of trying to force it so he doesn't have to stay down. But I think everybody knows it's like, okay, you now have to stay down for a little bit.
JT, what are your thoughts?
I would agree. Ultimately, I don't know if blessing in disguise is the right word, but if that was spoken out of ownership from the Mariners, yeah. As far as controversy, regarding his name and, being in Mather's mouth, get that name out your mouth. But it ultimately it's unfortunate, but at least it wasn't worse, because it was while running in stride, and you just want him to be healthy. If it takes 3 weeks in the season and, oh, look at that, it's April 20th and hey, he's healthy and I think it's a win-win-win. At least it wasn't worse. Trying to stay positive with it.
Kevin, any thoughts you want to add?
About the same. I mean, the only, I guess, plus out of it is, with this farm system being so deep, we've now got to see that Trammell popping off the way he has. It's a little bit of a comfort knowing that you got other boys that can fill that gap. And then now it'll be interesting, if Trammell keeps popping off like he's doing right now, then you got to do you play with the option of having Trammell on left, putting Kelnick in right, and just having
Mitch DH?
Yeah, Mitch DH. Yeah.
So what do you do with Ty France? If Ty France has been killing it, where does he go then?
He's your utility guy. It's
with Dylan Moore.
I mean, it's a plus of Riching.
Yeah,
It's
Evan White suddenly is looking at loss for playing time if Ty France's bat has to be in the lineup.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to how much of Evan White's amazing defense at first goes against Ty France's hot bat and his not. I'm not saying Ty France's dog crap at first, but it's not the same as what Evan
White will hit better. I'm just mainly
kidding.
Evan White's going to play first.
You have a very small sample size at the moment, so there's still a lot to go before we get there.
And then a tweet from Lauren Smith of the Tacoma News Tribune today. Survey said the Mariners will pull Shed Long Jr. back a bit in his rehab. He's still dealing with inflammation in his right shin following surgery last fall. He hasn't appeared in a Cactus League game yet. What do you guys think about the injury to Shed Long? And I mean, where does he fit in on this roster in your guys' view? So, Kevin, I'm gonna throw it to you first on this one.
He fits in Tacoma. That's where he fits for me. Because it is still super early, but a lot of us really like Dylan Moore. And he's doing solid so far. And honestly, Haggerty too is kind of making a push. Haggerty's, 364 OBP, 2 stolen bases so far. You just got to bring down the strikeouts a little bit, but second base is kind of covered if he can't make it back. So You get to see other kids play and kind of decide where, because that's really like kind of the only question mark kind of going into the future is like what we're doing at second base with all the other prospects kind of lined up. So I mean, don't get me wrong, I like Shedlong. I like to see him come back. More competition makes it more fun. So especially in this season when we know we're not really going for it. So I hope he recovers quickly, and I hope to see him back out there to kind of compete.
Sean, is Shedlong a Rainier as well for you?
I'm maybe not that far, but Kevin's right in the fact that Dylan Moore needs a chance to play. He's played well enough in his time the last 2 years that he needs to at least get a shot to be the everyday second baseman. And then if he struggles, having someone like Shedlong with his minor league numbers were very good. And so a guy like that as a backup is not a bad thing to have. But yeah, it's Dylan Moore's job. And it doesn't matter if Shedlong's ready day one, Dylan's going to play.
JT, I mean, I'm sure a Rainier's hat would look good on him, but you think he should have a Mariners hat?
Yeah, everyone should get their shot at the big leagues. But I mean, when I think of Shed Long Jr., this is what I think of. It's a lot of tools in that shed, but they're junior size. And he's kind of a long ways away, in my mind, from actually being an everyday type of player. And we have a lot of young talent that we need to see on the big stage to see what we have so we can anticipate competing for the playoffs, hopefully in 2022, if not 23. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen much out of Trammell either, but he's showing, at least in spring training, and sometimes his skill is health, and ultimately being there to showcase that on the field. And right now, unfortunately, he's injured, and that's just the way it is. And I think he might start out on AAA, and it's a long season. I'm sure he'll come up, and we'll see him.
All right, well, let us know what you think of Kelnick's injuries, Shedlong's injuries. Go ahead and tweet us. I'm at Beatty_Matt. Sean is at Sean_Beatty. Kev is at Kev Believes, the first team believes, being a 3. And Justin is at JT_that Ginger. So we're just going to kind of do a little bit of breakdown of some of the outlooks of positions. So starting pitching, the Mariners have said they are going to a 6-man rotation this year. And it looks like there are a few spots that are just automatically cemented. Marco, James Paxton, those guys are obviously going to be in. But what do you guys think of the 6-man lineup? Something that's not traditional in the major leagues for the most part. It's usually a 5-man rotation. But what do you think of the Mariners 6-man rotation, and how do you think it projects against, just the AL West? We'll start with that. So, Kevin, what do you think?
I don't know where to begin. I guess against the AL West, it will be solid enough, just because one, we have Texas in the division, so that's kind of gonna be some easy wins right there. Let's be honest. The A's are always just kind of there. Like, I was looking at the A's roster the other day for spring, for a spring training game when they were supposed to play them, and I was like, I literally was going down the list, and I was like, there's a lot of guys on here that I have no idea who the heck they are. So I was clicking on them, and I'd just seeing their names and stuff like that. This is still probably Houston's division to take. So honestly, it's just one of those to see where they're at type of deal. You're gonna probably see Justin Dunn in there, some what's his name? Sheffield, Kikuchi, and they might rotate depending on how they play, type of, especially as they bring people up, later on in the summer and in fall. So, I think it's you got your key guys in Marco and Paxton, and if Paxton stays hot, trade him, go get more pieces. So,
Sean, how does this pitching rotation stack up in your mind?
I think as it stands right now, it's the second or third best in the AL West. The Angels, all their pitchers could, if you told me they all completely sucked at ERA of 5, I would totally believe it, because they are boomer bust guys. They've all been guys who've been terrible at some point in their career and also been pretty good in their career. But it's one or the other. They're always like boom or bust. And so if you told me they all blew up, I would totally believe it. And I don't think they're gonna be it. Oakland is kind of the same thing. Oakland has a lot of guys that could be good, but I'm not sure I'm buying all of them. So kind of like the Mariners, once the Mariners call up their guys, but as it stands right now, the Mariners have a bunch of like 2, maybe 3, even 4 starting pitchers, like on the rotation. They don't have a true like ace, and I think those guys are coming in the minors. But I think that's going to get them through enough I would say in a pretty weak pitching division, at least starters. Kevin's right. We're not even measuring against Houston. Houston clearly has the best. So, but you could talk me into them having right now the second best rotation in the AL West pretty easily, because Oakland, if they collapse like their projected starters are like to regress back down to earth after that shortened season, they could easily be number 2. I trust Marco Gonzalez like anybody else basically in the AL West other than any Houston pitcher. I trust Marco Gonzalez next, and then Paxton probably after him. So I'm not trusting Chris Bassett more than them, or Haney, or Bundy, who had like one good year and then was terrible other than that. Like, I trust those two. So those two are giving me confidence that the Mariners probably the second best rotation.
JT, would you agree? Second best rotation in the AL West?
Oh, by the end of 2021, maybe. If we're thinking Logan Gilbert comes up. As it stands right now, I would probably put them third, maybe fourth, if I'm being realistic. The Astros having McCullers and Greinke there, and they just signed Odorizzi. That's a pretty solid first 3. The Athletics and the Angels kind of have just a solid depth 1 through 5, and that's where I kind of see the Mariners at the moment. But what the Angels have is Ohtani, and for some reason they're going to try to pitch him every week.
He's gonna get hurt. We're not even like, what are we even talking about right now?
I don't know. I don't know. It would be really cool to see Ohtani as a DH closer. Like the like 1 inning every couple days, you DHing, you're hitting triple digits. Like, let's just kind of utilize your athletic. Yeah. So I mean, ultimately, yeah, I guess Houston would be at the top, but with Verlander hurt, and I don't see him really coming back. Maybe at the end of the year, if they make the playoffs, then he'll be there. But honestly, the Rangers definitely are the worst as it stands right now. But looking at it, like, overall, there might be some hope for some like really quality games, entertainment value. But yeah, I think I'd put the Mariners somewhere in the middle of the pack at the moment.
All right, well, let's talk a little bit about the bullpen. So the bullpen, I think, is probably going to be one of the bigger question marks. I've been looking at the names. I just really don't recognize a lot of them. The person who led the Mariners in save last year, Taylor Williams, is now a Padre. So what do you think of this bullpen? And is there anyone who might surprise you, or is there going to be a true closer in this bullpen, or is it just going to be by committee? So, I mean, JT, what do you think? Is there actually going to be a guy who you're going to rely on to come in the 9th, or is it just going to be kind of whoever's pitching well or whoever's available?
Well, the new school thought is whoever's pitching well, matchups based. I see Montero, and I think, okay, I think he's going to get most of the save opportunities the first 4 months, and we might just flip him. He's not that old, but I mean, he's only had the last 2 years. He's been solid, but with a little bit of health issues. And we just signed Giles, and he's eating up a 40-man roster spot, and they're like the same age. So I'm not sure exactly right there. Graveman, he missed 2019 with Tommy John. I think he would be the next in line, 8th inning, role, if you will. So with him switching from a starting pitcher back then, Tommy John is 2019, and then coming out of the bullpen, his velo had a little bit of a bump, so it was nice to see. He might be a random matchup or whatnot. Middleton really intrigues me. If he can stay healthy, he's got that post prospect hype. Like you've seen him do it before. He just needs to put it all together. And Elias might be like a savvy pickup. And then Munoz, another one that we got in the trade from San Diego. Another young kid, injury. And I think Tommy John wise, he might be available somewhere in July, August, if things go well. But Montero might be the saves guy, but in order just to flip.
Kevin, what do you think?
Yeah, it's bullpens are always like every year. It's just you never know what you're kind of getting, to be honest. So I'm just kind of looking over like what we've seen in spring training so far, just to kind of determine what I've seen. As I already mentioned, Roenis has looked good. And they've kind of used him in the past to like when a starter's just getting shelled after like 3 innings. They just bring in Roenis to like get him to the 6th pretty much, to where they can, not use everybody in their bullpen. Looking at the numbers so far, there's some, Tapia is looking solid, but like I said, it's just a small sample size. Swald is kind of the most interesting when I see it because he has 7 Ks so far, but he's given up 3 runs, no walks on 6 hits. Like the only one that I know that he's kind of a guy that's been solid for us, and he had another solid inning tonight too, is Swanson, or I like to call him Brett because he looks like our friend Brett a little bit. I don't know if you've ever seen, well, I don't know if you guys have seen Eric Swanson's picture, but every time I see him, I'm like, oh, Brett's out there. But he's had a decent, he has given up 2 runs, but like overall, he's been like the guy that's, giving you solid stuff in the past. So it'd be interesting to see, I want to see a little bit more out of Yacobonis, if I'm pronouncing it right. But all in all, just so we don't go over for.
Is this Brett right here? Does that look like Brett pitching?
A little bit. Like I see a little bit of Brett.
It does a little bit.
Like this one, like the one. Go back to it.
Oh.
Why are we talking about our friend Brett?
If he looks like Swanson, baby, it's Brett. Who knows? Do you know?
The bottom third, so the bottom row and 4th, like that, like where he's like in the middle of the swing. Yes.
With a big puffy face. Wow. Okay. Hopefully Brett's not watching.
Yeah.
Jeez.
No. I'm not talking about.
It's Brett's cousin. Let's just say it's Brett's cousin.
All right.
Now,
from a side view, it looks like Brett. I'm not saying it's a puffy face. I'm just saying I see Brett's eyes and his nose a little bit.
Okay.
Bring up Barry Pepper and Logan Gilbert. It's more
We're
of
not
Barry Pepper. Let's go. It's a real name. I didn't believe it. I was like, oh, that's a character.
He was the sniper in the tower in Saving Private Ryan. Yeah.
Yeah.
61. It's a
That's
great
Logan Gilbert, but just Logan Gilbert has long hair.
61. Barry Pepper.
Yeah, Barry Pepper. Yeah. That was Logan Gilbert.
Can you have
that is
hair
not
now?
Logan Gilbert over there. That is
hair?
not.
Okay, I just want
Curly,
Logan Gilbert to have his hair now.
More body, more of a boom.
Okay. So can I go now?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Okay, so my thing is, Matthew, you said there's a question mark in the bullpen. I say there's no question mark. They're gonna suck. There's no question about it. Oh, I say that they're gonna probably be awesome, but JT's right. I think Montero is going to be the guy given the shots, and they need to flip him because he's not going to be a long-term option. So get rid of him as soon as he starts getting some saves. Get what you can. Whoever gets it after that, I'm not really sure it matters or I really even care. I really want to see 2 guys that come up, and they're Sam Delplane and Wyatt Mills. I want to see them come up because they're like actually, I think, going to be part of the future along with Gerber and all that stuff. They're going to be the guys who are going to come up and be the future of this bullpen. So I want to see Sam Delplane play baseball for the Mariners in 2021. He's going to be, I don't know if he's going to be the closer this year. I don't even think he's going to be ever, but he's going to be, Maybe, but like he could be like, if given the shot, like a 7th inning, maybe an 8th inning guy, because he might right now have the best stuff in the bullpen included, like because it's a low bar, but he might have it right now. So let him get those high leverage situations once it comes up, because he better get used to them, because that's going to be his job. So I want to see those two guys come up.
All right, before we get some predictions, let's talk about position battles. Sean, tell me one position battle you are watching right now in spring training.
It was going to be the outfield before Kelnick got hurt, between him and Trammell. I guess the lineup is set. Other than that, I'll still say it. I'll say the outfield with all the pieces that they have, and if Trammell's going to win that job, starting at left field, and I think as of right now he is, but between if Kelnick does come back and he puts enough games together, him versus Trammell will be my most fun. I guess the catcher too. If Cal Raleigh can make a run at getting a shot on this team. He hit a triple yesterday, big beefy boy triples. There you go.
Justin, would you echo that sentiment? What's your position battle you're watching?
Left field. I think ultimately I want Trammell to take it. I'm not a fan of Fraley. Looks like he plays great defense, but I don't see anything else with him. And same goes for Braden Bishop. Based on age, though, they've got to figure out what they have, because ultimately they need to make decisions. They got a lot of outfield talent coming up through the minors, and so I think they really need to figure out what they're going to do. Random thought, I was like, why is Mitch Haniger playing in the outfield? I just want him to DH almost. I just want him healthy. So I'm like, would it be weird to put Dylan Moore out there? I don't know. He's 28 and a half years old. I thought Dylan Moore is a little bit younger than that. I just found that odd just now.
Would you like put Ty France at second?
Yes.
Yeah.
I want Ty France in that lineup.
Yeah,
I got some pretty decent predictions coming up here with Ty France.
Okay.
Former Dust Devil, Tri-Cities.
Kevin, what about you? What position battle are you watching?
See, for me, it's more like infield too, just because like I have a feeling like we kind of predicted before, like you could put Trammell left and then put I'm sorry,
Mitch
I'm
Haniger
tired.
at DH.
Yes, thank you. But just based off what we've seen so far, Ty France's bat has just been nutty. He could take that whole thing, like as JT mentioned, if he can learn to play second.
He has played a little bit of second.
But if he don't move to second, he's still like with Dylan Moore, like I said, Haggerty's shown last year too that he can be solid, and he plays everywhere too. Like he's played left field, he's played second, he's played I think he played shortstop one game, but I can't remember. I might be wrong on that one. But at the same time too, like if you put Ty France at second, what do you do with Dylan Moore if he's also playing hot, other than just have him as a bench and come in?
Well, like what JT said, he's in right field because Mitch Haniger's DHing now.
Wouldn't you put Kelnick in right though?
Oh, once Kelnick comes up, you got to trade one of the outfielders. So I've been yelling at for 2 years now. You don't have enough outfielders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Into the void.
And then, not to mention Julio, you don't have enough spots. You can't play a 5-man outfield, or can you? Future of baseball.
And then I was trying to mention catcher. Also, as I talked to Matt earlier, there is one person who's batting perfect right now on the Mariners in spring training. Anybody want to take a guess?
Murphy with 1 at bat or something.
He's got 2.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but man,
it is Godoy. He is 2 for 2. But just because I think Murphy's bat will heat up, but Cal Raleigh's been doing good.
I think Cal's the third guy though, because right now we still have was it Luis Torrens that we got from San Diego?
Oh yeah,
who's projected to be the backup. I think you're right. I think Tom Murphy is safe. I just think it's
and honestly, there's no reason to rush Cal too. Like, there's no point.
But if he shows he's ready, he's just
I'm not saying later on. I don't think he is. You could call him up like in fall, call it.
I don't think he is, but if he keeps playing.
So.
All right, well, let's make some predictions here. So I'm going to start with batting average. Now, Godoy is leading right now. I don't think anybody's going to predict that for the regular season. So, Kevin, who is going to lead the Mariners in batting average this season?
batting average? Like that's as
Just answer. We got a lot of
Yeah.
categories, Kevin. We gotta
I
go
know.
fast.
Okay. God. Lewis.
I think me and JT have this. I think me and JT have the same one, so I don't think it's gonna be.
Sean, who do you got?
Well,
No, go. Just say it, Kevin.
Lewis. I don't know. It could be. I don't really look at average.
Yeah,
Sean?
I say Ty France. I think Ty France is gonna lead the team in batting average. And I knew JT
Yeah,
had the same
JT's,
thing.
yeah, JT's and I.
I was going to write down Haniger. Haniger.
I was going to
might-
say Haniger, yeah. That's what
might
I was
have
going to
an
go with.
batting average.
Haniger's my 2, but I say Ty France leads the team in batting average.
All right, home runs.
Oh, is it me?
Yeah, we'll start with you again, Kevin.
You're doing the same. Okay.
We'll go same order for this one.
If he starts, I'm gonna get spicy. I'm gonna say Trammell. Trammell already has. No, he's got 1. Never mind. Shit. Probably. God, I hate to be the repetitive.
Hashtag bold prediction.
Yeah, that would
Probably.
have spicy.
Kyle Lewis. I'll say it. Yeah, I don't like it, but I'll say Kyle Lewis.
Sean?
I'll say Kyle Seager.
Oh, interesting.
I would like that. That'd be nice.
Yeah. JT,
yeah.
what about you?
I was going to say Haniger, other than Lewis.
I was
Haniger's
gonna go with Kyle Lewis. I think he'll build off of last year. I think he'll lead the team in home runs again this year. On base percentage. Let's start with JT on this one.
France, lock it in.
France,
I
lock
see
it
London,
in.
I see France is going to get on base.
Okay, Sean,
Ty France. I mean, yeah. You get some.
Kevin.
He's a minor league beast. So yeah, that dude's gonna get on base.
I want to get spicy though. Oh yeah. Realistically, it'll probably be Ty France. I'll say Crawford.
Oh man, you took mine.
I
I
think
was gonna go JT
you're just gonna say Kyle Lewis again.
Ah,
Like you're just
no.
gonna be like Kyle Lewis.
He has like so far, like Crawford has 3 walks, which is kind of impressive in the limited amount of bats that he's had. So he's not swinging at stupid crap, which is nice to see. Like like if you're Crawford, that's your point. Like he's not being what Flash was. It's like he's going to take the walks and get on base. Like that's what he should do because he wants to use the speed to steal bases and get runs. That's what he should do. So I'll take it if it's in the form of walks. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna take JP Crawford too. I think he plays very well this year. I think he gets on base quite a bit, and I mean, what does he project in the lineup? I imagine he's probably lead off or 2 or maybe down the lineup. But
That was actually a point of conversation today. He was batting 7th today or something like that. They're hoping he bats leadoff, but he might, because his plate discipline has not been great, might actually drop.
okay, I'm still gonna go JP Crawford. I still think he's gonna emerge this season.
I hope you're right, because that'd be beast.
Runs. Who's gonna score the most runs for the Mariners this season? Sean, I'm gonna start with you.
As the lineup projects right now, and Mitch Haniger's number 2, I say Mitch Haniger.
JT.
It's a great pick with the Haniger. He is aerodynamic, so he should be able to round the bases really well.
You have
know
to?
what I'm
Did you
saying.
have to?
He's a father now, so I can make that joke. It's funny.
Dads can make that joke. Okay.
I feel like if France, I'm just gonna go back to France. If France is getting on base, they're gonna want him higher in the lineup, and I feel like he could be a solid 2-hitter with Haniger behind him. I forget the batter handedness, how it plays out. France righty, Haniger righty. So we'll see how that plays out. But
So would you then bump Haniger to 3rd then? Is that what you're saying? Haniger 3rd,
Yeah.
Kyle Lewis 4th? Okay. You just move them all down. Okay.
yeah, if it was me, I'd put Kyle as 5th and keep Seer 4th.
Well, yeah, but like they're not going to do that.
No.
I'm gonna take Crawford again. I'm assuming in this scenario he's gonna bat lead off and he's gonna score the most runs for the Mariners. Kevin.
I'll go the unpopular pick. I'm going to say Kyle Lewis.
Oh, you didn't really sound very happy
can
about
just
making that pick
You
either.
can just skip Kevin. You're just going to say Kyle Lewis for everything.
Honestly,
Kevin,
no, I mean,
go.
I can see like, France is leading him right now in runs. So
Innings pitched, Kyle Lewis.
Yes.
For Kevin right now.
Saves Kyle Lewis.
Saves Kyle Lewis.
All right, and RBIs. Who leads the team in RBIs? JT, what do you think? Is it Ty France?
This is the one where I actually didn't write down Ty France's name in this category. I feel like Seer, because I feel like he's the most reliable. I know where he will most likely bat. And with everyone else potentially moving, Lewis, I want to see consistency. Henniger, I want to see health. Seager, he's there. So I want to go with Seager as like a safe bet.
I was also going to pick Seager, but to not pick the same as you, I'm going to go Henniger just because I think he'll have a really good season at the plate. So I think he's going to get those RBIs. Kevin, what do you think?
I was thinking,
Matt should have said to Kyle Lewis to force Kevin to pick something.
Yeah.
I'll go spicy on this one, even though I think I was actually in the same mindset as GT of Kyle Seager. I'm gonna say Kelnick.
Kelnick leads the team in RBIs.
Wow.
Wow, that is spicy.
That is a spicy pick right there.
I like
Do
it.
it.
All right.
Do it.
Sean, what do you think?
Novelli Marte, the 19-year-old. No, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna be boring and pick Kyle Seager again, like JT, because I think it makes the most sense.
And stolen bases. Sean, what do you think?
Dylan Moore, he's gonna run the most. He likes to run, and he might not be the most efficient, but he's gonna try it the most, and he will steal the most.
JT, what do you think?
I put down Moore, otherwise Crawford, but yeah, I think Moore. Interesting, we didn't bring him up at all in the other ones, but I think he's going to have the freedom middle bottom of the order to try.
I'm also going to go with Dylan Moore. I was looking at their stats from last year, and it's not close that Dylan Moore has the most stolen bases. So I'm going to take Dylan Moore on this one as well. Kevin, what do you think?
Ditto.
Kyle Lewis?
Yes. Kyle Lewis, yeah. No, we're gonna go Big Tom Murphy, hunking that muscle out there. Baby.
Now you would spicy with your Kelnick pick. That would be spicy.
Another one like this that could be surprised too if he gets enough time would be Haggerty. Haggerty's a quick little.
I'm surprised no one said Trammell. Like if he gets to be
in Trammell too.
Starting left fielder.
Yeah, that is a possibility. Yeah, I would. Yeah. But Dylan Moore or Crawford. So,
all right, now 41 bases in the minors 1 year. Jeez.
All right, now we're getting into pitching here. ERA. Who's going to lead the Mariners in ERA? Kevin, I'm going to start with you. And we're not saying starters. We'll throw in everybody in the same boat here.
Oh God, like with bullpen too?
Yeah.
Everybody in the club?
Everybody in the club getting ERA. All right.
God, that's so hard. Like, because you could have one guy that just does 2 innings and like.
We'll say there's a minimum threshold. You got to throw in at least a third of the
We're
games.
just making up numbers.
I don't know.
Yeah. Why can't we just say starters?
Okay, fine. We'll say starters. We'll go starters.
I'm going to ignore it.
We'll go starters.
We'll go starters.
Yeah,
all right,
just
starters.
It probably Marco. He's just the most solid, most consistent. Yeah, and he's sexy. He's not boring. So I'm gonna go with Marco.
He's not boring.
Sean, what about you?
I have no reason to say this. I'm gonna go Justice Sheffield.
Why do you take mine?
I
was
in
all
the
ready
numbers.
for it.
The numbers don't even support it. It's just in my gut. It's in my loins. I feel it, and that's where I'm going with.
JT,
I like the strides he made, so I'm gonna go with that.
I'm gonna get my flex on, triflexa. I'm just gonna go with flexing. I would agree with Gonzalez. Otherwise, I liked where Kikuchi was at, but he gets in trouble with his whip. So I'm just gonna go flexing. No one's really seen him in a year or plus. And I think he could get out to a strong start and hopefully see that through.
Yeah, I'm going to take Justice Sheffield. I mean, his ERA has improved every year. I think that he's on track to do it once again. And I think he is the best ERA on the Mariners starting rotation. So how about wins? Sean, I'm going to start with you.
I'm gonna go Marco. He never gets in trouble. Like unlike the other guys with like ERA or all that stuff, Marco's consistently every time not walking, not giving up free stuff. Weak contacts, Marco Gonzalez.
JT?
Yeah. Polo. Yeah. Marco. Solid, consistent. Know what to expect. He's probably gonna get the most starts on the year. He's the opening day starter. I think he's got the best bet to rack up the most wins.
I'm gonna take Paxton. I'm gonna take Paxton in this one. I think he has the best shot to just have a solid season. I think he'll get some run support this time around with the Mariners. So I think Paxton's gonna have the lead in wins. Kevin, what about you?
I'm gonna do a two-parter here. I believe it's gonna be Marco. I hope it's Paxton. That way we can just trade his butt and get more pieces. That's what I hope. Yeah.
Just as
But-
bad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's got that Canadian, the Canadian sexiness back there.
Easter. There we go.
Look at that maple leaf back there. Yeah.
All right, strikeouts. JT, what do you think?
Okay, so strikeouts being a proponent of innings pitched, I'm gonna get my flex on again and say that Chris Flexen may be able to pitch the most innings based on workload from the previous year. And so ultimately with innings, he would come strikeouts. As far as like K/9 across all the starters, I mean, Paxton is when he's healthy, he's the best pitcher on this pitching staff as it is. But I would, venture a guess and shoot my shot and just say Chris Flexen.
I think I'm just going to go with Paxton because, like you said, I think he is probably the best pitcher on this team when he is at his best. So I do think Paxton is probably going to lead the team in strikeouts this season. Kevin, what do you think?
Paxton. Just because, yeah. Ditto.
I agree with JT in the fact that it's going to be hard. Flexen's probably got the most chance to get the most innings, but with a 6-man rotation, I don't think it'll matter as much as it normally would. So I will say Paxton because I think Paxton will stay healthy long enough, not the whole season, but long enough to build up enough lead on Flexen, who I would say is number 2 because of the innings. But I think Paxton will build a big enough lead to hold on to it at the end. But it'll be close. Those will be the 1 and 2.
I will say a pitcher to look out for, like, as I mentioned earlier, I don't think he's going to be near the total, but one that is going to surprise people would be Rowanus, just because they do like to use him in that, like I said, when a pitcher's getting shelled after like 2 or 3, like bring him in to get him to the 6, like type of deal. So you could see a little bit of nice workload from him.
All right, and I'm going to throw – oh, sorry, go ahead, JT.
I would dark horse throw out Kikuchi. I like the strides he's made.
Yep.
And ultimately, I mean, he's climbing the velo ladder. And I was watching some of his September stuff. He's just making Joey Gallo look silly. But I think he could be a dark horse, like take another step, progress. And as far as like K/9 numbers from last year, he would have the best bet if all innings pitched among the 6 starters are fairly equal.
Okay, we're running low on time here, so I do want to go to a couple of random ones that I didn't want to put on there. So, player most likely to be traded. So I'm going to start with Sean on this one. Player most likely to be traded.
Montero, the closer.
All right, interesting.
I'll keep it quick because you said we're short on time. So
Okay.
Montero.
All right, JT.
Great answer, Sean. Montero's taken. I'll do Kyle Seager.
I'm gonna take Kyle Lewis because Sean just really ingrained in me last time we were talking about it that he really wants to trade Kyle Lewis, and you could probably get a lot back if he plays really well. So I'm gonna say Kyle Lewis actually with the crowded outfield that the Mariners have.
He has to play really well, but yeah.
Kevin, what do you think?
Haniger.
Haniger.
That's who I would have
Okay.
said it was too. But
Interesting. All right, and one last one for the players. We can't go to a game most likely this season, but player you most want a bobblehead for. So, Kevin, I'm going to start with you. Which Mariner would you want a bobblehead of from this season?
This season? Because there's not really. I mean, I guess Kelnick would be my answer.
Okay.
Because he's part of the future, so it'd be cool to get one in his like quote unquote rookie season.
Sean?
I really want a Kikuchi one, or Mitch Haniger, but I'll go Kikuchi.
JT?
I would like to snipe a Logan Gilbert one, if you will, because he's going to look like Barry Pepper.
Yeah, just
sniping K's. I just made up the. Yeah, boom. It markets itself.
Side kind of funny question. Does the Mitch Haniger one come with?
Stop.
Anatomically correct Ken doll?
Yeah. Gosh.
Everything down there, is it there? Okay.
It works. He's a dad. Okay.
That's true.
Okay, so I would like either a James Paxton or a Chris Flexen one, just because I think you could do a little bit more creative bobbleheads with those ones. I mean, you could make Chris Flexen's arms like really big, just because his last name is perfect for a bobblehead like that. Or Big Maple as a bobblehead would be great as well, I think. So those would be the two bobbleheads I would want most. All right, so let's make some big predictions about their season. So we already kind of did this, so let's see if they change it also. Let's predict how many wins the Mariners have this season. So, Kevin, I'm going to throw it to you first. How many wins are the Mariners going to have this season?
Everybody's going to get it together, and they're going to win the World Series. No, I'm just joking. God, that'd be beautiful. It's not
Childhood's MVP.
Oh, balls up rookie of the year.
Oh man, Logan Gilbert, Cy Young. They just bring him up now and just do it. Like,
I'm so glad that everyone else is buying on the Logan Gilbert train, because I felt I was so alone for like 2 years. I'm so glad Logan Gilbert.
Just like I said, because of the schedule that they have, I would say I'm gonna go with 68 to 70 wins.
Okay. Sean, what about you?
I'm going to say 71-72. I think the kids will come up by the end and give a little oomph at the end, because they're so talented. It kind of depends on how many of them come up, but I think, Gilbert. There's rumors that even Hancock could come up, so you get those two guys, like Sam Delplane in there. You're gonna get some, you're gonna see some. These guys have different skill sets than you've seen in the past couple of years. These guys are legit. So I think 71-72.
JT, what do you think?
I wrote down 78, and I don't know if that's too optimistic, but I feel like they could finish strong in terms of prospects and bringing them up later. And what's happened so far this offseason can bring a team together in the right context. And so I think ultimately, they got a big chip on their shoulder with something to prove. Those boring old, Mariners. And so I'll throw out 78.
Wait, can I go back to a bobblehead? I want a Marco Gonzalez bobblehead that just has a t-shirt that says boring on it. That's the bobblehead I want.
There you go.
Oh,
there you go.
2022 bobblehead, Kirby. George Kirby, obviously, he's just like inhaling innings and batters and
yeah.
All right, I'm going to say 75 wins for the Mariners. I do think they improve later in the season. It kind of starts off slow and then slowly picks up as the younger guys come in. So I'm going to go with just 75 wins
this season for the Mariners. Is bad. So JT's prediction's not crazy, because the AL West isn't as good as it's been in the past. I think the Angels are coming up a little, but Oakland's coming down and the Rangers are just bad. And
right.
even the Astros aren't as good as they were in the past. So there's wins to be had here.
So thank you for the segue, Sean. Where did the Mariners finish in the AL West this season? Sean, let's start with you. You brought it up.
I say that, and I say fourth.
Who finishes behind them?
Fourth, third, yeah. Yeah. The Rangers, they're so bad. Like, and they have nothing, so it's the Rangers. You could convince me the Angels finished behind them too. I just don't believe in their pitching. I don't think Ohtani's going to be healthy, and I don't think their starters are going to be healthy enough. They're going to hit like a ton, but they're just not going to pitch anything. I think the Mariners have enough of both that they'll overcome. No, I don't. The Mariners are fourth. They'll compete with the Angels. They'll compete with the Angels, but it'll be close.
JT, what do you think?
I wrote down. See, this is the thing. Like, Houston is not Houston, but I feel like they just might take first place. Similar to 2020, where it just kind of like they just didn't have enough time to figure it out last year. But I feel like on the long season, 162 games, I go Houston, then I go LA, then I could see Seattle or Oakland third or fourth. I'd probably lean Oakland third, and then definitely Texas bottom of the division.
I'm going to take them at third. I think Houston and then LA, and then I think Seattle will slot in at third with 75 wins. I think 75 wins is a solid third place in the AL West this year. Kevin, what do you think?
I'm going to take them at fourth. I'm going to go a little different, though. I have Houston at first. I'm actually going to take Oakland at second because Oakland just has a way of just putting crap together.
I have Oakland at second too.
Billy B. Oh, did you? Oh, sorry.
No, I didn't say it though. But I was about to ask that question after you were done. But yeah.
Yeah, just they always like last year. Like I just did not expect that team to even make wild card.
They won the division.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So it's every year, like when you look at them, you're like, how do they do it? And then they just do it. It boggles my mind, and I hate it. And then LA being third, us being fourth, and then Houston dying, or excuse me,
the Rangers.
Dying.
The Rangers being the Jets of the baseball world.
They're just going to get roasted in that big barbecue of a stadium down there.
All right, so let's give our World Series predictions here. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and start on this one. So in the NL, I am going to take the San Diego Padres. I think the Dodgers are going to be very good, but I think this is the year that San Diego puts everything together. They've just got so many bats. I think the pitching will be good enough. I think that they will make it to the World Series in the NL. And then in the AL, I think I'm unfortunately going to have to take the Yankees in this one. It's kind of interesting to me. I do want to take the Blue Jays. I just feel like they're going to be really good this year. Sean's shaking his head no, but I do think that the Blue Jays are going to be pretty good this year. But I will take the Yankees and opposite corners in the World Series here: San Diego and New York in the World Series. Kevin, what do you think?
Tough. AL, I'm gonna go. God,
He's taken.
Yeah, I was about to say I think Yankees are gonna choke it again. I'll say Tampa Bay goes back, just because still a lot of stuff down there, a lot of solid. Just pieces all around.
So we talked about that. Tampa is a good team. You can't choke to a really good team. Tampa was a number one seed.
Yeah, I know,
really
but
good.
By choking, I'm talking about in Yankees, because they expect to go every year. That's what I'm
I can see that. About. But Tampa was really
and the fact that they just
year.
throw fucking money at everything. But and then.
Wait, so who did you end up? You picked Tampa Bay. Okay.
Yeah, NL. It's hard not to pick the Dodgers. It really is. I'm gonna go spicy though. I'm gonna say Atlanta.
Okay.
That is real spicy. I like that.
Yeah.
All right, Sean, what do you think?
I'm not gonna go spicy. I'm gonna pick the Dodgers. I just don't see how even the Padres overcome that rotation. Those staple of arms. They just have so many arms. It's stupid. And they have two of the last three MVPs. And that's not to mention Corey Seager, these other. Yeah, they got the Cy Young. They got. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. the Padres are good, but until they do it, you kind of have to keep picking the Dodgers because I love Mookie Betts and he's a beast. And then with then the AL, I think that the buffer of the Houston Astros always being the Yankees will never make it because the Astros are just so much better. When Verlander got hurt, that kind of ended that. If Verlander was here, you could easily make the case still for Houston because they're just going to outpitch the Yankees. But I think it's the Yankees here. I'm Matthew for your Toronto Blue Jays. I think they're the most overrated team. All of their hitters could completely fail, and their advanced numbers are kind of scary. So,
well, I mean, they're not going to be playing in Toronto either, so that might be.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like they're very scary. They have Ryu and a bunch of like number 4 starters, and they're like, let's hope this works. And then a bunch of hitters who are super young and haven't done it really. They're like, they played 60 games. Let's hope they're good. And I'm like, okay, this could be terrible. And that's kind of how I feel it's going to be.
JT, what do you think?
Oh, I wrote down Chicago White Sox. And
Why about the White Sox?
I feel like they've got enough MLB talent and prospects that are knocking on the door. I feel like they can piece together like a good yin and yang there. I like what they're doing out there. I liked your mention, Matt, about Toronto. I mean, they seem fairly deep, but I just feel like pitching wins out, and that's why I understand LA, but I just want to root against them. So I also wrote down San Diego Padres. If they were healthy with a 6-man rotation, it would be redonk, badonkadonk style, but down in San Diego. But ultimately, it's just I think I'm just picking on a matchup I want to see, and I want to watch a team and be entertained and have fun with it, because I know it's not going to be the Mariners realistically. So yeah, White Sox, Padres.
Okay. Well, let us know your World Series prediction out there. Go ahead and tweet at us. I am at Bain_Matt. Sean is at Sean_Brady. Kevin is at Kevin Believes with the first team, believes me at 3. JT is at JT_the_Ginger. So, gentlemen, let's talk about a couple other topics real quick. We're at an hour 7 here. So we had the COVID shortened season right now, or last season. And right now they are projected to play a full 162 games. Now, there is the vaccine out there and everything. And, some players have kind of already had it. Justin Turner in the World Series, to mention one. But what do you guys think? How much does COVID affect the season? And do we see, like we saw last year, where games are canceled a bunch and they do double headers, 7 innings? Like, do you see that happening quite frequently, or do you think that the COVID is going to be mostly at bay this season without fans in the stands for the most part? Sean, I'm going to start with you.
I don't think it'll be much of an issue this year. With the vaccines rolling out, we still have another month until the season even starts. There might be a couple games here and there skipped, but we saw how every other sport was so determined to power through no matter what. They're just going to play no matter what. So even if it was still a thing, they didn't care. And especially with the vaccines coming out, and yeah, it'll be full go.
JT, any thoughts? I mean, do you think that it will be mostly smooth sailing?
I think the roughest part will be the initial beginning. I will try to I will just state facts here. Recently, there have been some COVID-19 violations by players at spring training sites for eating at a local restaurant. And so now they have been put into the protocol in isolation. I could see a mix of violations and or just positive test results. But I think ultimately, the further we get into the season, hopefully things will start to come back to some type of normalcy.
I mean, like half the teams in baseball got it last year. We don't have to worry about Miami or Philly. They all had it last year.
I mean, do you think, like, I'll throw this to Kevin, but I also want to say, like, do you think they'll do what they did last year, where have the AL playoffs at one spot, the ANL playoffs at one spot, or is it going to be business as usual? Kevin, what do you think?
Yeah, this one's tough. Just because they're gonna get the Johnson and Johnson shot, most likely. Especially if they get co-partnered with Merck to produce it. Just because it's a one-time deal, and it's safer for it's kind of more meant for people their age. Just because of even though it's not as effective as the other one. But the only part of it is that I'm worried about is that I think they're going to get the shot and then just go crazy because vaccines take time to take effect.
What do you think, Kevin, with like the initial symptoms after you get it? Could that like affect some things, like some players get it and then like miss the next couple days or whatever?
Mm-hmm. That could be a possibility.
Do you plan it if you're a team like on an off day? Is that how you would do it? Like
probably
you like get it on you are off on Monday, so you'll get it Sunday after your afternoon game, and then try to like mitigate as much as possible.
I just hope that like the MLB just like I hope that the team doctors like go over with everybody how vaccines work and stuff like that. Just be like, hey, you got the vaccine. That doesn't mean go out to your local nightclub right now and just like party with your mask off, like type of deal. Like you still have to be precautious. You can still get it, like type of deal, even though the chances of there's a lot of medical stuff that we don't really have time to go into. But like the only thing I think it will affect right now is actually, and one thing we didn't bring up because they're talking about how they're pushing the minor leagues back to like a month and stuff like that. I think it might affect like AAA and stuff like that because right now they're talking about them not even starting till like the end of April, like May, like type of deal. And that's a huge, especially for us. Like we want our farm system to play right now, and especially after last year and then missing that's a huge deal. So if anything, I think it's going to affect the minor leagues because they're not going to get it nearly as much, and it also might postpone back certain things. It's going to be interesting how they do that. I think the majors will flow just fine. You're still going to have people that are going to get sick because they're just going to go out and do crazy stuff, or just by chance, sometimes it can be safe and you can still get it. So they'll still do the protocols and just they might have it. I don't know if they'll do like a taxi league like we did last year. I hope they kind of do, just because that was kind of fun. It was cool to see. But all in all, I think, like I said, it's definitely going to affect the minor leagues and how they go about doing business and stuff with traveling and stuff like that.
All right, so we are at almost an hour 15 here, so I want to get us out on one last topic here. You guys all live in the Tri-Cities, and the Dust Devils are a Los Angeles Angels affiliate. Now, we're all Mariners fans here. Are you guys going to, go to a game and root for Angels prospects? Or, are you going to root for a team that's not the Tri-City Dust Devils just because they're not affiliated with a team that's competing against the Mariners prospect-wise? JT, what do you think?
Well, if I'm paying my full ticket value of $8 and I'm there with my family, I'm rooting for the hometown team. I don't see many things, especially player ownership, who they belong to. I'm just there to watch baseball with my kids, ultimately. I got to retool my mind on who to look for and who's also going to be in the league. Northwest League in terms of prospects. 2019 is able to see Christian Robinson, so that was really cool. He'll be a name that you'll probably be familiar with in Arizona in probably about 2 years. But looking like right now at the Angels farm system, I don't see too many overall like top 100 or like, anything young wise. And I think the Angels don't really have that great a farm system. So yeah, I'll root for them when I'm there in person, but I don't, it's just baseball. I want baseball back.
That's fair. Sean, are you going to be rooting for the Everett Aqua Sox, the Mariners affiliate, or are you rooting for the Dust Devils?
Yeah, every time they play, I'll root for the Aqua Sox. But when they're not, I'll root for the Dust Devils. That makes me a little like less want to root for the Dust Devils because these players are a lot closer than they used to be. I was like, oh my gosh, like these guys with the Dust Devils, I can root for them. They're never gonna make these teams. Like, or like, they're not. I'm like, oh, they could make these teams. Like this is a thing that could happen here. Like, I might have to like root against that guy on the Dust Devils at Safeco Field in like 2 years or something like that. Like, but no, I'll still root for the Dust Devils when they're not playing the Aqua Sox.
Oh, hold on, Sean. On the line, we just got a caller. Fernando Tatis Jr. wanted something to say about playing on the Dust Devils and making it to the big leagues. Even our own Ty France. Oh, another caller.
Who was that? Who was the old Mariner prospect? The Jackson. Was that big guy who now plays catcher for the Padres? What was his name?
I don't know. Charlie Blackman just called us. Hey, I made the majors and I played on the Dust Devils.
You got like 4 players like.
And we saw Evan White live too.
We did.
Yeah.
Kevin, are you rooting for the Dust Devils?
The main
Alex
thing.
Jackson.
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
Yeah. I saw his first game and I was like, wow, that guy looks really good. Nah, he's sorry. I'm so sorry, but
yeah. I will be rooting for Dollar Hot Dog Night.
Ooh. Okay.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes. No, like I just want to watch baseball live. So that's all. I don't give a crap who. I mean, of course, if the Aqua Sox are down there, then yeah, there might be a slight. I'll be more watching and see what they're doing while I'm scarfing down dollar hot dogs. But other than that, just watching live baseball again is.
Alex Jackson played in the majors last year.
What? Where is he at?
Atlanta Braves. He had
okay.
7 at bats.
Actually, it looks like the Angels High A, they've got some pitchers on their own team overall, like top 50. Paris is their catcher, who's actually projected to be a major league player. Deshaun Knowles, love the name. I'm gonna root for him.
I love the name.
Luckily, I don't have that decision. I'm just going to go 30 minutes east and go watch the Rainiers. So I don't really have to worry about the minor league stuff for the most part. I'm just going to go. Hopefully, Cheney Stadium allows fans at some point. That's just what I'm hoping. Maybe like August, hopefully.
You'll get to see Jared Kelenic.
I don't think he'll be there. I hope he's not there by that time. That would be cool to see him there, but I want him in a Mariners uniform. That's what I want to see. Before we go, JT, what is your hat? I love it. What is that?
That is the Eugene Emeralds Sasquatch logo.
Wow, that is a good logo. That is a good logo.
I'm a big minor league baseball hat aficionado over the last year and a half. I think I have over a dozen now. I just like the cool logos. Trying to rep PNW.
Very nice, very nice. I was hoping that the hockey team, if it wasn't the Kraken, it would be the Squatches, the Sasquatches. But
Squatches.
That's what you could call them for short. It would be the Seattle Sasquatches, and then it would be Squatches for short. Like that would be great. Yeah.
Squatch alert.
Yeah. They would be the Squatchites.
Get your squatch on. Get your flex on.
All right. Well, let us know what you think out there. I am at Beta_Matt. Sean is at Sean_Beatty. Kevin's at Kev Believes the First Thing Believes, being a 3. And JT is at JT_the Ginger. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow our Eli Network page. We've got timestamps and everything now. If you don't want to watch anything that you don't want to see, just go to the timestamp. I've got it there in the bottom for you. Yeah, skip to all of the Mariners stuff you want to see. All right. Well, JT, thank you for joining us as our first guest on this show. And we will see you next time on Washington, East to West Sports.